Talking about training and, talking about going into things, we are starting off with the first game today. Phase 1 of the very first match of game number 1 of day number 1 is coming up right now. The rotation is starting in just a matter of seconds. Teams are landing already, and my goodness, I am so hyped for it, especially since, as we said it before, we are starting over the TAEGO, and there we have it.
Yep. Then others, and I think one of them is right here.
Yeah, there we have it. I mean, it's the usual drop spot, isn't it? If you want to find quick fights and good loot, but it's going to be coming up. Twisted Minds against, maybe Sims. He just sees Byro gets the trade, but it's already a 2-2 trade as far as I can tell. And Nordskiff together his teammate now to the last one standing for Formulation Gaming. Matunin is going to try to get the rest, but Intense already on the low. This looks very good for your Formulation, actually.
It sure does. Twisted Minds very experienced when it comes to being hot dropped and hot dropping others. Lou, first one to fall, only one to fall so far. Intense, able to dodge and read the first one. Spirit does fall as the second shot comes through.
But Tulin has to make something work with his HP. He's very limited. Unless he's going to find a first save really quickly, he's not going to be able to engage back into it. And Simsy is already down the race. I do believe Formulation has lost one in the process, though, as well. So Hyman has went down, yes. So that makes it a 2-1 trade in terms of players being finished, but I don't think it's over yet. And I could imagine Formulation going after this. And I'm excited to see that as well.
Sure. Let's see Hagatori trying to grab one out and assist. In the meantime here, Formulation will fall. They took casualties early on. In the end, too much for them to battle their way on through. I mean, you can see again a terminal pretty much housing half the server right now as everyone is trying to make their way further towards the west.
Vehicles being disabled by Pin. Obviously, if it was up to them, they probably would have tried to kept out DA earlier, but it isn't possible now anymore. They are being surrounded by more and more teams. It's going to be interesting how they deal with it. But for now, 3 frags and a good standing. They've got all they need.
They sure do. Ascent showing their presence on the server here as well as they try to make their way on further forward. Found one, finds the second as Nail-Up goes down as well. Chris able to take him out from afar. As in the meantime, Oakless, the last remaining player west, are just sending it full speed through that fight and somehow doesn't take any damage.
Yeah, I think some of these players from Ascent were kind of scared of being traded out by some of the Entropic players who've been peeking over the Ridgeline too aggressively. Chris actually gets taken down by Lucaru. What a turnaround of events. It felt like he would have had that frag surely. For some reason, Lucaru was able to get that frag, and Killigaga being knocked out as well. Mika now being the last one in close proximity, with Rexco being very far off as well. But he's got to get that knock on towards Mexi, and that trades it out. 2 against 2 now as far as I can tell.
Yeah, and you can see Howl shooting from afar as well. That's one of the issues the TAEGO, the teams have to try and figure out when you're forced to fight in the open. Some of these areas are so barren that if you're not very careful, you're easily going to be seen from third-party teams. You can see Ivers up above trying to apply some suppressive fire, but for the majority of these teams, it is incredibly difficult. Yeah, they should be, but very nadeable position, and you can see Lucarux is set just to the other side of BBL here. Michael, Rustamar, how do you play this one out? Trying to lay low, try and play it safe, but so many people are looking their way, and Howl in the meantime having to find their approach across. They've now been seen from the other side, and so much damage coming through, and it's from multiple teams.
First nade coming out. I think it's a double knock actually with this one. And Yepa, they've played edge throughout the whole of this game, and how one more nade might just seal the deal, and there it is. I do believe that was the last one. No, excuse me, Twisted Mind is actually eliminated on the other side of the map while still getting some of the frags. And Howl now with the blue zone grenade. Are you kidding me? There it is. The blue zone grenade is actually going to do massive damage. I think that's going to be a re-knock on 2 of the players, leaving just 1 alive. But Howl, with the position of Yepa being that wide out in the open, they cannot finish the job just yet.
Again, as I called it earlier, a much better Molotov, especially in the end game, when the blue zone damage has increased to the extent that it has here. So difficult, if not near impossible, to get rests coming in when it goes through the walls as well. And pretty much just completely mitigates the opportunity to prone down behind vehicles the way that we saw it trying to utilize there.
On towards this edge. This might not be as clear as I thought it was going to be. Smoke wall coming out from Yepa, and looks like they're going to try to make their way inside as well.
Nice pre-nade being thrown on over as they heard the vehicle start. That car's going to blow up. Indeed it does. Allowing for a little bit of cover for Yepa, but as we can see on the map here, they still have to move further forward too. And there comes the blue zone grenades again. So incredibly dangerous. Howl losing one, losing the second now as well. These blue zone nades are incredibly lethal.
absolutely amazingly played. You can see the blue zone grenade and then the nade to top it off as well. Double knock coming in from Levante. And the same being played by Gustav here. He might just get a second knock. Mitrelius and maybe Marco as well. I think he was just outside the last tick of the blue zone there. And he's alive for now, but his position is very much no. Correxy with that pre-fire. Not going to get him just yet.
People thought the Molotovs were good for isolating opponents. Blue zone nades come in and say, hell no, this is our time to shine. So much damage coming through here in the late game from those nades. Gustav swings around, finds a double, and then it's DA out in 9.
And FaZe Clan picking up 2 more frags. DA not going to make anything work, even though they had the positional advantage. That blue zone play from Gustav on top of the buildings. My goodness, that's how you play the new utility.
Trying to hold the angle, knowing that FaZe has to come their way. I like how they've positioned themselves further up towards the northwest, saying we're going to stay in the city, but we'll be in the one corner that is the closest towards the circle. In this case, inside the circle. Hopefully, we'll see a position take casualties before they get in. That's exactly what happens now, as Teams is the first to fall for FaZe.
Let's see if anyone's going to be able to follow that up. Doesn't look like for now. But both of these teams, actually, I do believe Pod and Howlers kind of get them sights on towards FaZe. And Yepa 2 now. As we can see, they rotated in. But Gustav's actually going to be able to open things up. Levante being knocked down. He's on 5 frags already.
Holds yes, so much damage, and again, in a best of 6, on all the damage you can. No time to fool around here at all. Correxy finds Lassa as FaZe try to continue the onslaught through the west side of town.
Akitori is going to be the first entry point that Hal potentially has to clear. And he's only got, I want to say only, but he's not got a shotgun, so I'm going to say only the AUG, but doesn't look like anyone on the other side has got the shotgun neither. FaZe Clan opening things up once again, clearing out one, maybe, I think both of these teams actually got one knocked down for Yepa and for Howl. And maybe Gustav and FaZe can now make their way in further. They do have one more player in front of them.
Outside of BBL, the FaZe were the team furthest on the west. They've just run through team and team and team again in order to make their way this far. They have lost 2, but 7 kills already. Top 6 guaranteed. Very good effort from FaZe to make their way this far into the late game.
And we do have to kind of attribute that towards the great use of utility on their side. Clearing out these buildings has been very methodical for them.
Yep, let's see now. As things quiet down for a split second, but here comes Vex. Spotting Rux.
Wow.
Didn't matter that you had 3 or 2 X's, Vex is still going to find you.
It peeks around the corner, potentially looking for another one. He has to be careful. Shots being put out by the enemy teams in the distance. Gustav now kind of trying to sneak through. How is this possible? He's going to get the 1v1 and Vex backs it up with another. Revenant now being the last one alive, but he does have that shotgun. Nate comes in, finishes both these players. Unfortunately, his teammates. And now Gustav's looking for the last one. Jumping shotgun, and he's going to get it. FaZe Clan gets eliminated in 5th place, but they do take plenty of frags with them. So it's definitely anything else than a bad game for them. With, I guess, only a big kind of scare. As we can see him healing back up. Blue zone grenade's not going to touch him as the zone continuously gets closer. Beamy's going to open it up though. Kriyakai being knocked down. Varda's going to get that flash, and they have that southern side locked down. Football is looking very good.
Yep, sure are. They lost 8C in the very beginning of the game, but they've been able to stay up to 3 throughout the remainder of it. Vard trying to swing back down. Now they know that the opponents down below as well, so they have to be very careful. Brexco Falls goes down to the end. Into the blue, as long as I blaze up, able to find damage through on there. So Ascent taking casualties now, down to just 1.
Yeah, Mikas doesn't really have anything else to play with either. Mostly just the trees. I'm not even sure if he's going to make it inside the next zone. Ascent is going to be eliminated. Mika gets picked apart, and it's down to the last 3 teams. And as of right now, Push and Shoot have got by far the best position. That high ground might just prove very valuable, but T-Bone in the backside still has got something to say about this.
Yep, sure do. Push and Shoot, I think for now they're just going to sit tight, but they have to make their way further forward. And while they've been sitting still, or sitting tight, I should say, dealing with Ascent, that's allowed for Foot Esports to take full control of the center of the circle. So Bugger T trying to now wrap around the southern side, but the issue is he tried to do this before as well, and they saw him.
And more utility coming out now. Push. They have to make something happen now. Another great nade, but Beamy just barely survives.
Yep, a lot of utility being lopped on over, but when do they make the play? When do they say our nades must have hit something? We gotta try and see if we can make an aggressive push on forward. Somehow they've still got nades to work with as well. This one could be absolutely crucial.
Ooh, and it is crucial. Shady's going to get that opening. Quick trade from T-Bone. And another one, I think. But it is 2 down for Footballers, and it is not another trade, excuse me, on that one. Instead, it is Sorf to potentially finish that one off. No, it is going to be Bugger. But either way, all 3 of them falling down to push and shoot, and they will grab that first chicken dinner. And I do have to say, that was interesting how long they waited without utility, but they did make it.
I pray my dick get big as the Apple Tower, so I can fuck the world for 72 hours.